to a brand new episode of the Nerd for No Reason podcast. I am one of your fantastic hosts, Mark.
Hey there, I'm your other decent host. I'm Raven. What's up?
You're better than decent. And with us this week, great friend of mine, professional flat earther and professional D&D player, John. Say hello, John.
You're going to hell for that.
You did not just say flat earther, my
You
man.
are going straight to hell for that.
I've been waiting to say that like all week long.
You know, I thought
I was trying to figure out how I was going to bring you in. And honestly, I was like, man, I don't know what to do. You know what? I'll just say professional flat earther and D&D player.
I thought I only had one button, but apparently you discover I have two buttons.
So John is neither of those things. He is a really good friend of mine for how many years? 30?
Like 30?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is wild to say that.
Right.
Yeah, we've known each other in a professional capacity. I say like in the fact that we actually knew who each other were, of like, hey, you're cool, let's hang out and be friends, since
For 20 years?
high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit more than 20 years. We actually initially met for the first time like 3 years before we met in high school.
It's not a story worth telling.
But we don't remember, like, we're like, oh, hey, that was you? Oh, yeah, that was cool. Okay, cool. All right, let's forget about that. Let's go watch anime together. And then a friendship was born.
It's true.
So,
Blessings.
yeah. And whenever I talk about, like, all the old school anime stuff that we used to tape off of TV, whenever I tell those stories of, like, oh, back in my day, this was the guy, my counterpart to, like, oh, hey, I've got a new tape that I've got from somebody, let's watch it. And this was, so.
What do they mean when they say tape? That doesn't make any sense. What's a tape?
What's a tape? It's a vintage piece of digital media where instead of everything being on DVD or Blu-ray or streaming, it came on these big cassette tapes. And if you put a magnet to it, you could get really cool effects.
In 5 years,
What?
you're going to say to a young person that I go, what's a Blu-ray?
Probably.
Bro, there's no way. Oh,
I think in 5 years, VHS tapes are going to make a comeback.
I feel like they could.
If
Dude,
Polaroid can
Record
come back,
players came back. Polaroids came back. Some people are bringing back cassette tapes. I don't know where they're playing them because it's obviously not their car,
right?
but people are buying them. And I'm just like, what are you listening to this on?
And I heard a story one time of like these young 20-somethings, being a tourist, and they had a disposable Kodak camera, like one of them cheap ones you would buy and click the button and turn the knob and then go take the film to get developed. And they gave it to someone who was our age, late 30s, early 40s. It was like, oh, can you take our picture? Do you know how it works?
Oh,
Like that was their response. And it's just like, oh, don't quote the old words to me. I was there when it was written. One of those type of things.
Sure.
So, yeah, I got a feeling that VHS tapes will come back. Like, oh, look at this cool there is a VCR built into this TV. Peak technology.
classic.
So heavy. God, they were heavy.
They were. Oh, man. So this week on the show, we got a movie that I've been wanting to check out for a long time. It's been on my Netflix queue for a long time. I talked with John, and we were trying to kind of figure out, because, typically whenever we have a guest on, I, say, hey, you picked the movie. And I think John was just spoiled for choice. He didn't really know.
I actually just don't do movies anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you more of like a TV show, or you just don't do any of it?
It's YouTube dudes who discuss subjects that so it's mostly like engineering.
Okay.
Oh,
Bro,
it's straight.
what are you doing on this podcast, my man?
Well, because the kind of nerd I am is a little different.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Well, no, that's cool. I mean, no, listen, you're talking to, I always like to say me and the people in my job are like engineers without the degree.
Right.
We're the mutts. We don't have the papers making us special. But back to the movie, I talked with John. We talked a bunch of things, and I was like, "Hey man, you seen the movie Metal Lords yet on Netflix?" And he said no. And I was like, "Cool, perfect." So, John, I will ask you the question that usually I reserve for Raven, but seeing as how you're the guest this week,
okie dokie.
Actually, Raven, do you want to ask the question? Yep.
Me?
Go for it.
Oh, wait, never mind. I thought we hadn't even said the movie. And I was like, wait, Mark.
It's Metal Lords, everybody.
Just in case you guys didn't hear it. John, what did you think of this movie?
I'd give it like a solid 9. I really enjoyed it.
Out of 10?
Yeah, out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I was not expecting that.
It spoke to a particular part of my youth, having been in a rock band for 7 years and having reached a minuscule level of success in Atlanta. I totally got it. I thought it was cute.
Yeah. Raven, what'd you think?
I also really enjoyed the movie. I also thought it was cute. One of the main characters, the little main punk dude, he reminded me of one of my friends that I worked with at Baskin, like almost to a T. And so the whole time I was just cracking up watching it and just being like, oh my God, this is him. Oh, I'm just watching a movie about his life and it feels kind of sad right now. But I thought it was a fun movie.
I thought it was a fun movie too. There was if I can just say it didn't break the mold. It was very, it seemed like it picked all the tropes from all of the standard set of movies of its ilk. But there were certain little things in it where I was like, I think this this had real musicians behind it somewhere, like the one thing that I keyed in on very early was the drummer kid that I can't remember his name, the kind of main focus of our movie. Once he started really playing, he did the thing that all drummers do, just sitting still. And he's just constantly just patting his legs and moving his feet. And that is a tick I developed in high school. And I still to this day have not broke that tick.
So does your brother.
Yeah. I don't know. John, do you do it?
I don't do the full body one, but I'm always doing rudiments with my fingers. So
okay. Yeah.
Same.
That is a very big tick, but I might not have think it was an 8 or a 9, but I did enjoy it.
I gotcha.
I like the fact that it was actually like high school looking kids. You watch so many movies nowadays and it's like, oh, it's set in high school. And it's like
35-year-olds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're just like, John Travolta in Grease. What are you doing here, sir?
Right. Joe Manganiello, who was in this movie, him and Spider-Man. I'm like, sir, you are 30 years old trying to punch an 18-year-old, quote unquote, Tobey Maguire, who is 25. Or like Teen Wolf. Teen Wolf is the perfect example of this. When we talked about Teen Wolf, everyone was like 26 to 32 playing 18-year-olds.
So old.
It was wild.
But I really like that about this movie. Because it's like, you get the actual awkward teenage things. Like when you see something and you're like, oh, that's so cringy, but I could totally see it happening in a school.
Yeah. No. So John, how do you think that this movie, like, what did it get right as far as like the band stuff, the metal stuff, like, what do you think that spoke so much to you? Because it obviously had to get something right for you to be like, yes.
So, no ego. When I was in the band that I was in, I knew beyond the shadow of a doubt that I was the least talented guy there, and was just thrilled that all the real musicians allowed me to ride their coattails. And that is exactly how the basic opening monologue of our protagonist goes. He has this buddy who is clearly way more into it than he is, but he's there for his buddy until it clicks. Like that was real for me to be jamming with guys who knew why they were there, and I'm accompaniment.
Okay.
I see that.
Yeah, that's actually a really good answer. So, at what point, when you were in your band, did everything just start clicking? Do you have like one of those defining moments where
it was probably like
a War Pigs moment where you're just like, oh yeah, we got it.
Well, let me back up.
Okay.
They had it well before I did.
Well, yeah.
They had locked in pretty well, and again, allowed me to be accompaniment. I'd say probably like 3 shows before we were done did I really feel like I was sort of in my groove and understood what we were doing.
Yeah.
And then life changes, and
as it does.
Yeah. So you're like year 6.5.
Okay.
Probably.
Dang. So you're like the in the movie where it's the other band that they're like going up against, and it's the pothead drummer that's just like, dude, you suck.
I mean, it wasn't like
we just got to keep him around.
But yes, I guess if you want to put it that way.
Not saying that, you were terrible and offbeat and just high all the time.
Well, yeah, I was about to say, I'm pretty sure you weren't high all the time.
No, I definitely wasn't. I just, my motivations, their motivations were very different. I was just thrilled to be, bear in mind, I was the baby. So I was thrilled to be in a rock band with these guys, and they were trying very hard to be musicians.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Again, mostly just thrilled to be there.
Yeah.
But that's still fun.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
still a great experience to do.
Absolutely. I would not have traded those years for anything. We got to play the Masquerade. We got to play the Warped Tour one year.
Ooh.
We did some decent things. When I say we reached minor level success, I'm not sugarcoating it. It just never made it anywhere outside of Atlanta.
Yeah.
No.
Damn.
To be young again.
Oh, God. To not be in chronic pain.
Oh, man. That's what you get to look forward to, kids. Chronic pain. That is the best name for a metal band. Chronic pain.
Yeah, of all musicians in their 40s.
All musicians in their 40s. So, I really loved that. I loved the band name Skullfuckers. That really just that tickled the shit out of me, and I kept thinking the whole movie, is this a school battle of the bands? Because that's not going to fly. Because this teacher, I will say, the writing in this, even though story wise it was trope, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It didn't reinvent the wheel, but it definitely, the writing, my biggest complaint or my biggest issue is that if you make a set of rules, you have to stick to those rules. And they made that principal lady, the dean, they made her strict but fair. And she was consistent through the whole movie. And when it came time for the end, it wasn't just like, oh, well, you know what? We'll let it slide just this one time.
Right.
No, they painted over it, and it was skull flowers. Right by the end of the.
So are we? Is this a show where we spoil, or is this?
Yeah, no. If you're listening to a podcast with the name on the, the title of the movie we watch as the thing, and you have not watched the movie, then you deserve to be spoiled.
Oh, gotcha. All right. So in regards to tropes, one of the things that I'm really glad that they didn't just follow form is they didn't win. It should have been clear halfway through. They have no business winning.
Right.
It shouldn't be that movie. And I also really enjoyed the fact that the other band weren't made bad guys.
Yeah.
They were good guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's that they didn't pull a Karate Kid where the rival's dojo has to be the enemy. Back to tropes, that was sort of anti-tropey, and I thought that was really good writing.
Yeah, I will 100% agree with you on that. That those guys that in that environment, they did that cover song of whatever song that was. I can't remember the name of it now, but they did that cover song, and of course the crowd was digging that, and of course they would have won with that song because that was a pop song,
Absolutely.
and they 100% would have won with that environment.
If our heroes would have won, that would have just been utterly unrealistic.
Right, because no one in that crowd was metal fans.
Sure.
You know, they turned the crowd, and it looked like everyone was having a good time, but yeah, they shouldn't have won.
No, they had
So-
no business winning.
The real villain of this whole piece was the bullies,
Right.
and to a lesser extent, the main guy who was his own worst enemy.
Right.
Which I thought played out really good.
Mm-hmm.
That all of the problems with the band were his own fault because he kept getting in his own way.
Sure.
So, yeah.
What'd you think about the fact that they were over there trying to find a bass person, and then they bring on little cello girl?
Now that's the only part that I felt like it was the most kind of tropey. And I say that because they did a very similar thing in like School of Rock. It's always like, oh, we have this cello player and, you know, she can do the thing. And I do actually, I like how that she didn't just be like, cool, I'm going to play the cello as the bass.
Right.
She played it as the cello.
Right.
And it worked. You know, I would have loved for her to like slowly learn the bass as, you know, the one guy got better at drums.
Sure.
You know, to show that progression. Like to me, then that would have been the arc that I would have enjoyed more for that character, you know. But, you know, have her slowly turn into a goth, and then instead of just at the end,
I'm not ready.
I'm not ready, and then it's just like, oh, I put on some fishnets and some eyeliner, and now I'm
not
here.
only that, I went and bought like a multi-$1,000 new somewhere. I managed to Amazon order and 12-hour deliver
Right.
a $3,000 cello, and all of this wardrobe that up until 20 minutes ago was alien to my entire existence.
Right.
And
you
done
know.
it correctly.
Yeah. So yeah, I would have loved for her. Like you could have kept all the other stuff in, but just slowly but surely made her, you know, what she ultimately became. Like make that a slower transition.
The way I took that was she was already an accomplished cello player.
Yeah.
This was simply an issue of reading and adapting new music.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
essentially. I mean, the drummer boy, he basically was just like, all right, I'm going to start listening to this music, even though I don't really like it, and then just started dressing goth. Like, he was like, all right, I'm going to go get my clothes, I'm going to rip my shirts and all that stuff, and I'm going to be hardcore.
He sort of had his moment during the car chase scene where his entire world crashes down and he suddenly gets metal. Like he had his
guess that's
enlightening
fair.
moment.
Yeah. Was it just me, or during the him going metal montage when he's learning like War Pigs, was it just me, or did it look like he bulked up? Like they cut it.
I think that was a thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like they cut his sleeves off, and I was just like, he put on like 10 pounds of muscle
Right.
in between shots here.
Or
Like,
or lost 10 pounds of dough.
yeah.
Yeah. That was definitely
Okay.
also a thing.
All right. I want to make sure it wasn't just me.
Right.
Well, you know, he's over there, like, drumming his arms all the time. You know he got freaking built, my guys.
I'm
You know, it's
how it
actually
works.
possible that that's just an issue of filming order.
yeah.
And over the course of filming and having to put in all the hours of practice, he lost that in water weight, sweating his ass
That's
off.
probably true.
I mean, yeah, there's also that.
But the drumming looked accurate.
It was clean.
It was like that kid learned how to play drums, at least for a few songs, and I respect that because nothing drives me more crazy when this is very much like I can't watch movies with airplanes in them because it's very rarely right. It's the same thing with the drums when you see some guy playing something, you're like, that drum shouldn't sound like that. That cymbal is not clicking in the right place, you know. And I don't know about the guitar stuff. I don't know enough about playing guitar if, you know, he was actually shredding correctly. So, but
One of the things that catches my eye in films is where they do overdubs. And early on in the film, I thought I was going to have to I was gonna have to mentally turn off because there's a really bad overdub. You see, you're looking over someone's shoulder, so you can see their chin moving.
Oh yeah.
And it in no way corresponds to the words they're saying.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a bad one. But they cleaned up the rest of the film, and I guess they needed to tweak one line, and they did what they had to do.
I liked. Oh man, I liked the characters. Like I like the stories behind all the characters, especially the main metal dude. I can't remember any of these characters' name. I probably should have taken notes. Long-haired metal dude, the main guy. I kind of dug the fact that he was a rich kid.
Basically.
And like most super rich kids do, you turn out one of two ways. Either you become the preppy kid or you
become a little piece of shit that just does whatever.
Right.
Let's just call it eccentric because it was his flavor of eccentric.
Right. So
Yeah.
you rebel.
Right.
I think that was the word I was looking for.
That's fair.
He rebelled, and it's just that full teen angst of just like, oh my God, Dad, go sew another tits on a rich housewife or whatever. You're like, dude, come on, man. Like,
that is literally what funded every bit of equipment in that basement.
Right. You have 2 high quality pinball machines down there with literally just thousands of dollars of guitar equipment. Not to mention you went and dropped another $11,000 at Guitar Center, who had to have funded this movie in one way.
I think it was like 13.8 was on the
Yeah.
receipt.
Oh yeah,
It was a lot.
It was dumb.
Yeah. So, yeah, and you just like, oh, Dad, come on. And they were playing the D&D, which I also enjoyed that, where he was just like, I don't know anything about D&D, but, they say if we play with this dude, he'll be in our band. And that just struck me as funny. But the way he was dropping that heavy-ass dice and denting that table, I was just like, oh, man, come on. Respect the craft, So.
That was at his place, and considering that Dent had been there, I thought he was sort of the D&D host, just not necessarily the DM.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I mean, that's the vibe I got from that much damage in one corner.
Yeah,
I
guess
also kind of thought that. But,
No.
But his dad was kind of a prick.
Yeah.
Because, well, it was like his dad had gone through, like, the divorce with his mom and whatnot, and then he's just like...
I think the dad probably realizes that his son is an entitled prick.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if
do?
your son is
Parenting
driving around
sucks.
in, like, one of those, like, Challenger or Chargers, whatever he was driving, and just like, I can do whatever I want. It's cool.
I was trying to figure out where exactly this movie took place, because it looked like Southern California, and at the same time, it looked like Connecticut. It looked like the same place where Knives Out happened. I don't know if it was just shot a certain way, but it very much was like, it wasn't quite Southern California enough. Like the colors weren't quite bright enough to be like, hey, we're, look at us, we're Los Angeles. But it also wasn't dark enough.
I don't think it was ever sunny. So, like,
right.
Washington State?
Right. Yeah. Like, it might, yeah. Like, for sure, something, Portland. There we go. Like, some place that would have a battle of the bands in high school. Because that definitely seems like a West Coast thing. So, in some place where a plastic surgeon could make, a decent living, essentially doing boob jobs.
Sure.
So.
I mean, they could be high-end boob jobs. You never know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
That's one of the things that I feel weird now, having not paid attention to license plates, because we definitely see vanity plates in the film.
Yeah.
Which means you could probably get a screen grab, and you could definitely figure out exactly, at least the state, if not the county.
That's true. It was a yellow tag, wasn't it?
It was a vanity plate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know my homework now. I'm gonna have to
Intel warfare time.
Yeah. All right. Yep. dear listener, should you be listening to this, I will do your voicemail or do something. I don't know. I can't even like dangle a carrot in front of our listeners and be like, hey, if you do this, I'll do something for you. No, just if y'all know what it is, man, just do the homework and get it to me because I'm lazy and I probably won't do it. So.
Wow. At least
We love honesty here, at least.
Totally
Yeah.
own it. Totally own it.
So, yeah, it was great. I mean, it was definitely a fun movie. You give it out of 5, what, like a 4.5 out of 5?
Yeah, sure.
All right, Raven,
I'd
letterbox
probably
score.
give it like a 3.
Okay,
I thought it was pretty good.
all right.
How about you?
I'll give it a 3.5. So I think we can
Okay.
average that out at 4 stars altogether.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll put it on our letterboxed, and yeah, that'll be. Yeah, I'm all for
I
that.
thought the cameos were also a really nice punch at the end.
You know, the cameos were really great. I was wondering if they were going to do something like that. And when they all showed up in the hot tub or, around the hot tub,
I thought that was cool.
I was like, "Oh shit, that's Anthrax. Oh my god, that's Tom Morello. Oh my god."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a nice touch.
It was a nice touch. So, again, tropey, not bad. It was really cool. And I really liked how they didn't have any. They didn't do. You know what? Now that we're talking about it more, man. It's like they set up a trope, and then they go the opposite way with the trope. Let me say that. Let me refrain my it's all tropey. So they set up the trope, and then they don't go the usual way of the trope.
like not winning.
Like not
And
winning.
the other bands not being the bad guys.
The dude didn't make out or have sex with the blonde in the hot tub and then ruin his relationship with the first girl.
Yeah.
They didn't do that.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah. Let me roll back all of my tropiness talk and state it as such that they set him up and then don't go the typical way. Because I did like that they, this kid who up until this point has been nervous around girls and now he found one and he really likes her and all this and seems to have a good, healthy relationship and has a chance to hook up with.
He never actually battles the bully.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
We're just not going to have that Karate Kid scene.
I wish the bully would have had a little bit more of a comeuppance, just a little, like, oh, hey, like show him getting arrested to be like, oh, hey, like you did actually break his windshield and vandalize his car, like
Dude, that's so screwed up.
Yeah, but there's no way insurance covered him driving into an alley.
Oh my god.
There's
he
no way,
literally
no.
just was like, we can make it, and then airbags just explode.
right.
The parents are like, what the fuck were you thinking?
Yeah, and generally deployed airbags, for those not in the know, means totaled vehicle.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no, we're not doing collision on that. That's a totaled vehicle.
Yeah. Oh,
All because the dude like flicked his nose.
yeah. But
Love that.
all right, well, that's all I've got. You got anything else, John?
No, man, that's about it.
Raven, you got anything else?
No,
All
I
right.
guess not.
Word. Well, let's move on to my favorite part of every week.
What is your favorite part of every week?
My favorite part of every week, John, is where usually I ask Raven, but because you are our wonderful guest for the week, I will ask you, what has made you happy? We ask this question because we like to focus on good, wonderful, positive things that happen in our life, no matter how small or insignificant.
Man, I think that's important. I think we're talking week by week basis, right?
Sure.
Man, I'm really thrilled that I got a buddy that reached out to me and said, I got this thing going on that we used to do. How about you come out and guest one week? Being here is a really great thing.
Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here, buddy, because honestly, we hang out. Well, we try to hang out as much as we can, and a lot of time life gets in the way. We got kids, we got extracurricular activities and stuff like that. I always enjoy hanging out with you, my dude. It's always fun, whether it's a craft night or doing this or flying the drone or scuba diving or any of the various other activities that we end up somehow getting involved in.
Nerdy
Oh my
activities.
Nerdy
God,
activities.
Mark,
They're
just
all
get a
nerdy.
room.
I know, right? I persuaded him to get a 3D printer. I didn't like really be like, oh man, you should get one. But he saw the cool stuff I was doing. He was like, I got to get one.
It's true.
And yeah,
John, what have you printed so far that you are most proud of?
So I got this problem. And I've had this problem my entire life. I get 90% through with a project where I feel like I have understood what I wanted to learn from that project. And then I kind of don't finish it.
Oh, I feel that so hard.
So I've got this project. The whole reason I got into it is I had Mark building me this model of our solar system called an orrery. It is an 8-planet gear-driven orrery that is accurate to like 4 days across 1,000 years of all 4 planets. It is a foolishly complicated gear-driven monstrosity. And my 3D printer sort of had some malfunctions about 6 weeks ago, and I got the parts replaced that were damaged, and I just can't see it. I'm down to 4 parts. If I print 4 parts, my orrery is done. And that's probably the biggest thing that I'm most proud of. Let me see. Now I made this really great posable dragon for my daughter. Every couple of months I'll print an automata, a gear-driven clockwork thing that's ocean related for my wife. I like printing mechanical things that
That's cool.
have gears and do and have moving parts.
That sounds really cool, though. I like that.
So Raven, tell us something this week that has made you happy.
I actually got to spend a lot of time with my mom today because she was house sitting for my aunts because they went to pick up our brand new van for me. I get my own special van, and all of our vans have names. And so I did a silly little throwback name.
hold on.
So,
Let's backtrack
yes.
a little bit.
What are we doing? Yes. Where are we at?
Tell John what you do for a living because he doesn't know.
Wait, I thought he did homework. Let's see if he knows.
Oh,
John,
No.
what do I do?
Okay.
I
I'm
did
a-
not
I
I'm
saw
a
this
mobile dog groomer.
confused look on his face.
Well, I was
Well-
thinking to some other folks who have opted to live in their van,
Oh, okay.
and I didn't know the van tie-in. And,
Okay.
No. I am actually a mobile dog groomer. I work with my aunts, and my grandmother is like our receptionist type thing. And then we've got another mobile groomer that works with us. So, yeah, that's what I do for 5 days a week. I wrestle with people's dogs and demat them.
And I bet that there's a phenomenal niche for that for folks who are just not willing or capable to take their animal and put them through the stress of taking them to a groomer or up to the places, and you get to go to their home, and hopefully the animal's a little more calm.
It is,
and
you can definitely tell, like, that the owners can see a difference
Good.
sometimes, where they're just
Nice.
like, yeah, my dog came out of the shop last time and they were literally like shaking,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
they went home and they wouldn't come near us, and like we bring them out of the van and they're just like, oh, that was a great experience.
Nice.
I'm ready to go play now. It's so great. I like my job.
So
But yeah.
what did you name your van?
My van is named Broccoli. My aunt always told me while I was growing up, she was like, one day I'm gonna have a kid. I'm gonna name it Broccoli. And she like fully convinced me, like as a young child, that she would just one day have a kid and name it Broccoli. So I told her we were naming my van Broccoli, and my grandmother and my aunt both loved it. So it's just a cute little family throwback.
Kids will believe anything you tell them.
So I'm gonna
Hey,
tie
man.
in. I'm gonna tie in.
You
having
can name a
van.
kid literally anything. We have all seen the crazy little names that go about. What's Elon Musk and what's her
Oh,
name's
that's a bunch of
baby that was
emojis and
literally just
shit.
like
Yeah.
almost a code. But yeah.
So a story about a van and some folks who did their very extended honeymoon traveling across the country in their modified mobile home van.
That's so fun.
It was a white van, so they named it Appa.
Oh,
And
Nice.
since you groom animals, and there's a whole episode devoted to the shedding of Appa. I'm pretty sure you can actually put a blue arrow on it, and Nickelodeon would have you. But yeah, you could totally have a grooming van named Appa for all of its shedding hair.
Dude.
that needs to
I
be your
should-
next one.
I'm going to have to like make my aunt watch it though for her to be
It's
like,
got to be a white van.
"Oh, that's great."
Oh no, you get to watch Avatar: The Last Airbender with someone new.
Dude, convincing her to watch it though, she's going to be like, "I don't have time for this."
This is a
but like
cartoon.
cuz it's a cartoon.
Right. I've been.
She's basically going to be your dad, Mark, where it's like, "You guys are watching cartoons."
Do you know I've been trying to get this man, John, my dad, just got Disney Plus
Uh-huh.
and Hulu. Like he got the whole package.
Uh-huh.
And when he got it all set up, I'm going through Disney Plus. I'm like, listen, there is a lot of good shows on this. Do not count it out because it's Disney. You're thinking that it's all like Cinderella and Mickey Mouse. It is not. I'm telling you, watch The Mandalorian. And he's like, I don't know, man. Is it animated? I'm like, no, it's not animated. It's live action. He's like, it's Star Wars, isn't it? I've seen the Star. I'm like, it's not like Star Wars, but it's not. Just watch it.
It's
And-
not some Luke Skywalker,
Right,
Anakin type
it's
shit.
not
Come
Luke
on, my man.
Skywalker stuff. And he's just, I know that in his mind it is just, but this is a man who has watched Twin Peaks, Stranger Things. Like me and him used to watch X-Files together. Like he likes science fiction, nerdy, mystery, alien type stuff.
Does he watch Family Guy
No,
because it's animated?
I don't know.
Does he
I'm
watch
sure
The
I'm sure-
Simpsons?
No.
Because it's animated?
Because he's one of those people that remembers back in the late 80s, early 90s when The Simpsons was like, oh my God, a cartoon character said, damn, this is the worst thing that's ever been on television. And now it is, I know that he could watch it now and probably enjoy it, like even the old episodes.
Right.
But in his mind, it's still that it's still that dirty cartoon from the 80s and 90s, like, oh, just crass humor. I don't understand it.
So
Even though, it's your dad.
Right.
So you mentioned a couple of them. You mentioned Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Assuming you could get him to skip over National Anthem, do you think he would go for Black Mirror? Does he like science fiction that much?
I don't know.
Could you segue from Black Mirror into Love, Death, and Robots?
Possibly.
Because if you can get him on Love, Death, and Robots because it's animated,
Yeah.
now you've just gatewayed into everything that's a cartoon.
Well, see, here's the thing is that I have got him to watch other animated stuff and he's enjoyed it because I know his taste. And I'm like, if you just sit down and watch it, you'll enjoy it. Me and Chris do this all the time where, especially when Chris will come visit, they got nothing but time on their hands. So
Okay.
Chris will literally spend the day going, cool, we're going to watch this. And they'll watch something and he'll come away from it and go, well, you know what? That was pretty good. And
Is he the type to like Star Trek over Star Wars?
I don't know.
Like, would he watch Picard?
Possibly.
Okay.
So I don't know. I've been wanting to set him up with like a server at the house so that way he can just stream stuff straight from the server, to his TV.
Right.
And it was such a concerted effort to get him to break away from the traditional cable television. Like when we got him on Hulu Live, the first words out of his mouth is, what channel number is
Oh, I got
such
you.
and such? And I'm like,
Right.
there's no more channel numbers.
Right.
And you would have thought I just said that like I canceled Christmas. He didn't know how to take the news that there's no more channel numbers.
Right.
I was like, no, like Fox is just Fox. ESPN is just ESPN. There's no channel numbers. And he was like, oh, but what
Bless
channel
him.
is it?
Sure.
You know,
So you tell them that the name, the number is now just the name. The number of the channel is ESPN.
I think that's what I did actually.
The channel for Fox is just Fox.
Dude, your brother showed him how to, because we run like all of our stuff through the PlayStation. So your dad was like, "All right, since I'm staying here tonight, you gotta show me how to work the TV, since I haven't been sleeping so good because of his back surgery and whatnot." And so Chris actually like walked him through how to turn on everything and how to get through everything. And the next morning he was like, "I want y'all to know, I did it. I was able to make it through." He was so proud of himself.
I started playing this game called Spider-Man. Next thing I know, I'm flinging through downtown New York. It's the craziest
Oh
thing
my
I've ever
God.
seen. That seems like something he would 100% totally stumble sideways into. He's like, I've been playing Call of Duty all night long.
So I'm going to tie in a story and hopefully not get myself in too much trouble. But my wife has discovered BioShock on the Switch.
Ooh.
And my wife is an okay gamer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she doesn't do a lot on the console, but she used a PC game with us a lot. And I can't sit and watch her play BioShock because it's either the left joystick or it's the right joystick or it's the trigger. But it is never two of them at the same time.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
So you're talking about your dad swinging Spider-Man style. No, I think he's that one that's doing the Call of Duty trope where he's stuck staring at the ground, shooting at rocks and throwing grenades at his own feet.
Yeah.
Because if my PC gaming wife, who is a decent gamer, mind you, is one stick or the other stick or the trigger, but never two at the same time.
Wow.
I don't think your dad's swinging from buildings.
Oh, man.
No.
I just don't see it. B.
I feel like Yvette would have a better chance at actually doing it than your dad.
She has played Breath of the Wild
I know.
and enjoyed it. And I think the only reason she stopped playing is because, one, my dad was giving her a hard time about it. And two, the controller kind of started acting wonky. I need to get it fixed before Tom gets out of here because I know he can fix it. So yeah, that's by the way, I don't know if you know this, but my cousin Tom got a promotion. He made senior master sergeant in the Air Force. So he is going to, this affects his career now because he was planning on retiring in a year or two, and now he's going to be in for a whole lot longer. So he's probably going to PC us out of here in the next sometime in the next however many months and go somewhere. But he wants to come back because this place is a black hole, and he wants to come back here when he retires and get a job out there on base, like everyone else who's been in the military and who's been here.
People who have been in the military and have never been here still hear about Warner Robins,
Right.
and choose to retire here.
Right. And yeah, I've realized there's like 3 civilian places depending on like where in the country you retire at. And it's pretty much like here, Wright Pat in Ohio, and Hill Air Force Base in Utah, because those are big civilian, once you get out of the military, you can usually get hired in one of those three places fairly easily because you already have the experience of what they're trying to do there in some shape, form, or fashion. So
I mean, makes it easy at least.
yeah, shout out to Tom.
Hey, Mark.
Yes.
It's your turn.
Oh,
Go ahead, Raven.
what
Raven,
what
I'm
did
sorry.
what did you like about this week? Please enlighten us.
I think it was Tuesday of this week. I was sitting at work and I was chilling, and I got an email that said, "Hey, your personnel folder has been updated." And I was like, "What? What's going on with this? Why has my personnel folder been updated?" So I can check everything out online. So I went to the place online, And sure enough, there was a thing there, and I click on it, and I was like, oh, hey, here's the paperwork for a personnel action. I'm like, personnel action? I didn't get in trouble. And I look at it some more, and I was like, hey, you got a time off award. You got a day off, a free day off. I'm like, oh, snap. I was like, what the hell was this for? So I look over at the other two guys in my queue. I'm like, hey, did we get something? Like, what happened? They're like, nothing. What are you talking about? I'm like, I think I just got an award, but I don't know what for. So then I go and talk to my boss. I'm like, hey, boss man, I'm just showing I got an 8-hour award. He's like, oh, you finally got it? I'm like, yes. Like, what's going on? He's like, you remember that award that you got like 2 months ago? Yeah, this is from that. And the award that I got 2 months ago, if you've ever seen the Michael Scott meme with Steve Carell with like the fanny pack on, like shaking hands with what is presumed to be his boss from The Office, and he's just standing there with this blank look on his face like, I don't know how I'm here, but I'm here. That was me a couple months ago when they did this big like multi-base award thing, and there was some engineering team award where they were like, okay, yeah, these engineering people part of this, that, and this and that. And I'm like, engineering thing, I don't have anything to do with this. And they're like, all right, yeah, this engineer, and our equipment specialist, Mark Holland. I'm like, like hit me, tackled me from the left side, was not expecting it. So I go standing up there, and there's like 20 of us up there holding up these little pieces of paper. And I come back and I sit down. I'm like, I wasn't a part of this team. I tell all my supervision, I'm like, I wasn't a part of this team. They're like, no. This is from where you went down and hung out with them engineers while they did that. I'm like, but that's not what this is for. They say it's like, I think they just lumped everything all under this one umbrella because we did do good work. I'm not going to pat myself too hard on the back because I was really not the main driving force in that. But that trip was very productive because we solved a lot of long-term problems and made our office look really, really good. And then once he said that, now a couple months later, now I got my award. Hooray. So I get a free day off sometime in the next year before it expires. So yeah, that made me, that's what made me really happy this week. Yeah.
Very nice.
Nice.
So yeah, it's good times. And I can't say this too loud because there's kids on the other side of this door, so I'm going to talk just like this. When this episode drops, I'm going to be on a boat swimming in the ocean. So we're going on vacation.
Oh, Lord. You're doing another surprise cruise for the girls?
Well, no, like one of them.
Or are they not going?
One of them knows, but Amy doesn't know because she is one of those people that when she hears about something in the future.
Oh, that's right. Like, I remember.
I have
Christmas.
to plan for it now. There's a trip that is in June, and she knew about it in January, and I've heard nothing but, oh my God, I have to start packing for this trip that is in fucking June. And I dare not tell her that we are going on a boat next week because that's all I'm going to hear about for the next 6 days, and I don't want to fucking hear it. So, yeah, when this episode comes out, I'm going to be on a boat for show. Yeah. I can't wait.
Nice.
So, but it sucks. Well, it's not going to suck, but I will have one meal where I just eat my heart out because I'm back on my diet and I've been doing really, really good. It's going to be hard to even remotely stick to eating kind of halfway healthy on a boat where it's just like, just dope food at a moment's notice. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I'm going to have to like strict willpower.
You can do it.
I'm going to try.
We believe in you.
I'm going to try. No. Soda's going to be the hardest thing for me not to just guzzle down in gallons because they have taps out on the main deck where you can just walk up with any container you want and just be like, and that's probably the most dangerous part of that whole entire operation is just not filling up like 64-ounce cups at any given moment with just soda.
A liter of cola.
Pretty much. So, all right. So let's do some housekeeping. Raven, where can they find you on the interwebs?
can find me on the Instagrams over at That's So Raven Ellis, or we got the Twitters at spooky_Raven.
John, where can they find you on the internet?
No damn well. And I'm going to keep it that way.
Well, you don't have no Tic Tacs?
I've got no love for the TikToks or the Twitters or the Facebooks or the no, sir.
Hey, man. I don't blame you.
Have you guys seen anything on this congressional hearing for the TikTok?
A little bit.
I've seen clips of it on TikTok, ironically, and it has led me to believe that the old people who are in charge of our government don't understand technology, and it saddens me greatly because they're trying to like make legislation about technology, and they just, if they don't understand it, it is frustrating. Or if they do understand it, then they are making a real concerted effort to pretend like they don't understand it.
I think the old people that run our government have never understood technology.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
So, you can follow the show on social medias at Nerd for No Reason. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. I'm real close to doing TikTok. At this point, I don't know if it's ever going to happen because I think it's just a funny joke that I can just say every week. Like, man, we're real close to starting a TikTok. And I still haven't done it. I think I've been talking about it for like a month now.
It's been a hot minute.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute. So this might just end up being a running joke. I'm not real sure at this point.
I mean, just remember to like and subscribe. Smash that
smash
that bell notification so that you get all the updates.
That's right.
As they come out.
Smash that bell. You can find me, Mark, on Twitter at Turtles Do It. Find me on Instagram at Turtles Do It. And yeah, I think that's it. So with that, go and do something wonderful in the world today.
You guys go and ingest some cool medias, and we will see you back next week here on the Nerd for No Reason podcast.
John, thank you for coming and being part of our show this week.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
You're welcome back anytime.
Roger.
Cool. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields of bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning. Death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh Lord, yeah.